Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. We can now share with you some of those pictures that were sent into our Eyewitness portal. And let's begin with this one from Ojodu Burger area of Lagos State, showing 2 men arrested by the police for allegedly increasing the government-approved fuel price. Next is this one from Bini, the Edo State capital, showing people protesting against the fuel price increase. Our next photo is from Ajegunle in Lagos State, showing people whom our Eyewitness reporter described as being angry over a lady who was caught for kidnapping a child. He reports that the mob was angry when the police took the woman away. And here's another one showing people whom our Eyewitness reporter called students of a research institute in Zaria, Kaduna State. He says the students are protesting against the poor living conditions on campus. Let's end with this one from Shagamu, Ogun State, showing a road submerged. According to our Eyewitness reporter, the road is flooded whenever it rains because of the poor drainage system, and he wants the state government to do something about it.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thanks a lot for reporting happenings around you. Do continue to take advantage of our Eyewitness portal. The planned 3-day warning strike by the Nigeria Labour Congress has perhaps spurred the federal government to provide more explanations on the benefits of the new petrol price regime. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, told media executives and non-governmental organizations at a meeting in Abuja that the palliatives that come with the new price regime would not be misappropriated. He insisted that the decision to increase the petrol price is the only option the government had.
When the announcement came that the pump price of premium motor spirit would be capped at 145 naira per litre, there was instant anxiety across the country. The immediate implementation was the next shocker for many. Since then, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, has been trying to clarify the reasons behind the immediate implementation of the new price regime to Nigerians.
If we give 2 weeks notice of price increase, they will shut down Nigeria in those 2 weeks. No petrol station will open because everybody will hoard the produce. It's a pity. That's what we are.
It's a global problem, he underscores. He says the government understands the hardship this change would bring, hence the palliatives.
We knew from 2015 when we were doing the budget that there was not going to be any subsidy. So we provided for palliatives. We said we are going to employ 500,000 unemployed graduates. We're also going to provide 1 meal a day for 5.5 million pupils all over Nigeria. And we are going to spend 93 billion naira on that.
At the sessions, the people's disenchantments were expressly relayed to the minister, for he maintains that the government has taken a major step towards deregulating fuel, and in no distant time, like the telecommunications sector, fuel will be sold at a more affordable rate. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And as Nigerians continue to grapple with the effects of the new fuel price hike, many continue to bear their minds on the federal government's decision. A cleric and an activist, Bishop Sheung Adeoye, has staged a one-man protest in Osogbo. Bishop Adeoye, who trekked from the state government house to the popular Olaya Junction in Osun State, said the decision to increase the price of fuel is anti-people. Our next report highlights reactions from different parts of the country.
Ahead of the planned protest by the Nigerian Labour Congress scheduled for this week, barring any last-minute backdown by the federal government on the new pump price, The Imo State chapter of the National Association of Nigerian Students have taken to the streets in a peaceful manner to register their displeasure over the new price regime for petrol. They argue that on the heels of campaign promises by the ruling party, current prices is in contrast to what voters were told.
When they were passing budget, when they were throwing it through and flow, they never know that they did not capture the subsidy on it. So why would they now come now and tell us removal of fresh subsidy? We have said no. When Buhari was doing campaign, he said 14 naira per litre. There we stand. They have forced us to adopt change. Change must be a positive change. We have said no to negative change.
This is certainly one burning issue that have pitched Nigerians across divides.
I am out to speak on behalf of the speakless people. I'm out to speak on behalf of the downtrodden. I'm out to speak on behalf of the voiceless people to tell the president that Nigerians are suffering.
In Anambra State, for instance, some petrol marketers say the idea behind subsidy payment by the federal government has since been defeated, arguing that 40% of subsidized petroleum products end up in neighboring countries where it is sold at a premium. They also disagree with Labour over its planned strike.
Nigeria is paying subsidy for Nigeria. We are paying for Chad. We are paying for Cameroon. We are paying for Ghana. We are paying for Cotonou. We are paying for almost all the neighboring countries. And I want to ask, how long are we going to do it? When you know your economy is collapsing and you are still busy using the little one you have to help another country's economy. Is that the right thing? Is that way forward?
Meanwhile, residents in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, say they are set to join the strike action. Their grounds is that since the upward adjustment of price, every aspect of their economy has been adversely affected. They consider NLC as the voice of the voiceless.
The Labour should stand with Nigerians. They should speak the voice of Nigerians. The Labour should represent the common man.
In the southwest region, unit price for PMS is still sold above the recommended 145 naira per litre in Ogun State. Outrage has also trailed the corresponding hike in price of other commodity following the rise in cost of PMS per litre.
As the prices of commodities been regulated, have you increased the workers' salary? And what are the necessities we have put in place to cushion the effect of this removal of fuel subsidy or increment in pump price?
Kaduna residents are also divided on the issue. The queues are thinning out, and the people seem to be adjusting to the realities of the downstream oil sector.
The huge amount of money being spent on subsidy, it is enough to solve our problem. For instance, look at refinery now. Nigeria, we have 3 refineries. A country that spends, like what happened between 2012 and 2013, a country that spent about $30 billion on subsidy alone. If you use that $30 billion, like experts said, it's enough to create about 20 refineries.
Unfortunately, the government is going to start to make business out of the people that will be using the petroleum products, and also the various forms of palliatives that the government claim that they will be putting in place is absolutely not necessary. I feel it's another window or corridor for some persons to make money.
In the end, what will suffice is finding a common ground for compromise among all actors, while hoping that the masses will be better for it. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
And for the government to achieve any meaningful impact on the lives of Nigerians, there must be a reduction of its workforce. Now, that's according to the governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, who told Channels Television's Johannesburg Bureau Chief Betty Dibia in South Africa that the removal of subsidy and the government's proposed palliatives do not necessarily mean states will earn more. For this reason, he says states cannot pay the 56,000 naira minimum wage being demanded by Labour.
I don't believe that this salary across the board is the right thing. Lagos is a very rich state. Lagos can afford to pay 100,000. Akwa Ibom can afford to pay 200,000. And so many states in Nigeria. For instance, Imo State gets about 2.6 billion naira every month, when other states get about 13 billion. So what I get in 1 year is what some states get in 1 month. What the entire Southeast collects in 1 month is not up to what Rivers collect in 1 month. So you cannot put everybody on the same level. It should be an issue that is according to their state, relative state. Then, and if we must pay that amount of money, 56 or 100,000 as the case may be, then we must address the issue of this overpopulated workforce. The problem we have in Nigeria is that we have recurrent welfareism states, and there's no capital aspect of the projects. So what you do every day is salaries. A situation where you collect 2.6 billion and you have to pay 5.6 billion. So you have to look for 3 billion every month borrow. That's not feasible. So we'll also be talking about reducing the workforce, because number of workers in the civil servants could as well go to the productive sector of the economy. But nobody wants to hear this. We should create jobs, but the civil service job is not job creation. It's job creation on basis on segments and politics. But if we want to create real jobs, let's create jobs in the agricultural sector, the manufacturing sector, and if we can take 70% of the population of the workers in civil servants and bring them to the manufacturing industry, then their salary can go to 200,000, 500,000 per month. That's fine.
Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha. The recent increase in the price of petrol has once again raised the arguments for and against the devaluation of the Naira. Those who support devaluation cite the federal government's directive pegging the rate of import of petrol at 285 Naira to the dollar as a move in the direction of devaluation. Others, however, say a market-controlled devaluation should determine the value of the Naira. To be or not to be, that is the question. Joining me to examine this is the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Muda Yusuf. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
To be or not to be, where do you stand on that debate?
Well, the position that we take is that it is better to have a flexible exchange rate regime. The current policy regime, as far as the exchange rate is concerned, has created a lot of distortions in the economy. It has created a crisis of liquidity in the foreign exchange market. It has created even some level of corruption, transparency issues. I say this because if you see what has happened in the past 3-4 months, many companies or that have foreign obligations to meet are finding it difficult to meet them. People are finding it difficult to pay their suppliers. Airlines are finding it difficult to remit funds. These are evidence of a foreign exchange market that is not liquid. And it's not liquid because the exchange rate has been fixed at a level that the supply cannot support. So we have to have an alignment between the rate and the fundamentals. If you don't have an alignment, we continue to have distortions in the economy. And that is the major crisis we are facing now. Right now, the airlines are facing crisis of aviation fuel.
Yes, a lot of people were stranded today.
Yes, flights are being cancelled. Industrialists are not able to get raw material because you don't have access to foreign exchange. A lot of obligation that has to do with international trade transactions. No economy can exist in isolation of other economies. You have to relate one way or the other with other economies internationally. And you cannot do that if your foreign exchange market is not liquid. And it cannot be liquid if there is a misalignment between the exchange rate and the fundamentals of the market. And when I say fundamentals, I mean fundamentals of the demand and the supply. If there is a misalignment, you have a crisis. And that is what is affecting virtually all sectors of the economy.
But the president has repeatedly said that he doesn't favor devaluation and he doesn't see that happening. Can he continue? Will he eventually bow to a bit of pressure with everything that's going on? It's been a dramatic day as well.
Well, the truth is that this policy is not sustainable. We have seen a country like Venezuela that adopted this model. The economy has virtually crashed as we speak. And the earlier we fix this, the better for everybody. There will be some challenges, but at least there will be some stability in the system. And again, because of this policy, the inflows of foreign exchange that is supposed to come from autonomous sources are not coming. Because how do you bring your funds to an economy where the banks will insist that you have to exchange your inflow at 197? When the investor or whoever is bringing the funds know that in the open market it's over 300. So this is also an impediment to inflow. It's an impediment to supply. So we have issues on the demand side, we have issues on the supply side. So if there is some liberalization that allows the exchange rate to reflect the fundamentals, we'll expect some reinforcement on the supply side.
And when you talk about liberalization, there's a debate going on even online about liberalization versus devaluation. Explain that to us a little bit.
You see, devaluation in strict economies, you use it to promote your exports. But when you talk about liberalization or adjusting the currency, because the right terminology is to talk about adjustment of the currency, getting a flexible exchange rate. You do that in order to adjust to reflect the realities of your fundamentals. It's not a question of using it to promote export. That is what devaluation does. But in this case, you have a supply crisis. And the way to manage the crisis is for you to adopt a flexible exchange rate. If you don't do that, you continue to have a crisis. And the earlier we do that, the better for the economy. I know the president has said he doesn't believe in this, but empirical evidence is growing by the day that this policy is not sustainable. And I'm hoping that at least some of this evidence will prevail and there will be a shift in position.
Now let's look at what the CBN is doing. We have the Monetary Policy Committee meeting coming up. Do you see any announcement, any further big announcement from them when they have their meeting with everything that is going on now?
Well, at this point, I expect that there should be a major pronouncement on the foreign exchange policy, because we had two major policy issues in this economy. We had the issue with the fuel regulation and deregulation. That has been dealt with partially. The second major issue we have in the economy is the exchange rate policy. And I imagine that with the way things are going and with the unfolding realities that we are beginning to see, the CBN will have no other choice than to review the current policy.
Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Muda Yusuf, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us on the News at 10
Thank you very much.
Tonight. And when the News at 10 returns, we'll be examining calls for increased private sector involvement, this time in the maritime sector. Do join us again.